This is the area that I was pointing to here, right over here, since the Nepal quake that took place over here. Pressure shifting going this way. So what I did not anticipate was that we were going to have, because Kamchatka quake swarm has diminished. My thought that we were going to get a leapfrog over here, which we did get the big 6.8 over here. But I did not see this one coming. But check this out. This is kind of cool because there is something that I've been not accounting for. Look at where the moon is. You see how the moon is right behind the Earth? And let's look to where it's pointing on May the 30th, 2015. Look at the moon and look where it's pointing, at the feet of Virgo. Guess where the black star is? The black star is trailing Saturn at the feet of Virgo right now. Now the moon's just a little feller, but the moon comes into alignment with the sun and creates earthquakes. And what has apparently happened here is that the black star being right through here, the moon came around into alignment with the black star right here. That's what, I mean, it's too much of a coincidence, it looks like to me. I did not see this coming. Now if I go back in time, I'm wondering how many of these random big quakes that were not predicted by Project Black Star. Remember, the only earthquakes that I'm predicting are the near side alignment events, and we had that when the Earth passed between the sun, when the Earth was between the sun and the feet of Virgo. Okay, on April 25th. So when the Earth passed between the sun and the black star at the feet of Virgo, then we had our April 25th event. Then we crossed black star orbit path May the 20th, and now we're looking back at the black star, but as the moon swung around in orbit between us and the black star, it looks like that's what, in my view, produced this 7.8 magnitude earthquake. I wouldn't have believed that that was possible. I'm not a subscriber to planetary alignments and things like that, unless something's ready to go. But you're seeing a shift right here of activity that is eventually going to make its way into the Americas. And although I can't predict what's going to happen along this line right here, this is the focal point. This is where I'm looking for the linchpin event, and I heard Dutch is looking for the same thing between these two quiet areas. I mean, in this quiet area between these two swarm areas. And another thing that I'm noticing, look at the depth. I'm waiting for the depth of the California quake swarm to start looking more like this, because that's the way Japan was, that's the way Kamchatka was 2011, 2012. Now we're seeing this moving clockwise, and I'm expecting this swarm to get deeper too. But the focal point where things are getting, I mean, this Japan quake is just ridiculous. And look at the other deep quakes that are on this Asian side here. Imagine whenever we get that kind of depth over here on the American side. That's what I'm believing is going to happen. Then I was just going to give you a shot here where the moon was. This is on the beginning of the day on 5/3, and the moon passing through this is from my observation here in Florida. So that's what it looks like to me. As far as Project Black Star, you guys can get your regular, the sun did it from Suspicious Observers, fracking quakes from Dutch Sense. Looks to me like we have the binary twin to our sun that's moving right through the feet of Virgo here, and the moon is becoming an active player in what's going on. That would make me wonder, let me see here, if I can bring this around. That would make me wonder if we're going to be looking at the same type of situation when the moon passes behind the Earth. And if that's true, then we would be see where it says about June the 12th coming in the future? I'm wondering if the moon isn't going to come into alignment with the feet of Virgo again. So we need to watch this again. And let me see if I can get another date here. right when we're coming around just about like that. June the 26th. June the 26th. Let's mark those down, and we're going to see if the moon is a player with a section of space that coincides with the feet of Virgo. I got a feeling that we're going to be in the same situation around June the 26th that we were here on May the 30th. If we're going to have a similar type of event, and if that event is going to crawl around towards the Alaskan quake swarm area, this area. Now that we've had movement, this is this is very, very deep. It's hard for me to imagine, just using my mind, the depth of that moving around into this area. This is just ridiculous. I'm looking at here. So it's a combination of what you guys have been Frank's planetary alignment stuff, which I've been discounting. I admit I've been discounting, but it could be that the moon being so close that as it's orbiting around us is actually an active participant in creating these earthquakes. The key, again, is to find the right spot out here at the feet of Virgo with the moon as it's coming around, swinging around. I wouldn't think the moon in lining up with Saturn or Jupiter would have this type of effect, but the black star, we don't even know what that thing is, what the mass of it is. Very, very possible that that's going on, especially if it's closer than 1 AU to Earth. So anyway, I was hacking on Dutch Sense here recently and poo-pooed the idea that he could predict a quake like that, but he darn sure did. I want to give credit where it's due. And I saw a comment there that people didn't like his video, that didn't anticipate this quake. But I'm not one of the ones disliking what Dutch Sense or Suspicious Observers or BP Earthwatch or any of these guys doing. If they're working for lettered agency shops, I don't know. That's how it appears sometimes. When I see people blaming fracking, fracking goes down maybe a mile or two, and then we have 10-kilometer earthquakes. How is fracking going to cause an earthquake that deep? It just doesn't. That kind of logic doesn't follow the fracking idea. And then what caused Japan? Are they fracking over there too? All these other quakes? No, there's a pattern that's going on here. And so I'm discounting the fracking big time. And of course, pointing at the black star. And then Suspicious Observers points at the sun rather than the black star. And now BP Earthwatch, he's got CERN. He's all concerned about CERN. My feeling is that CERN's being turned on and off because the scientists, they know things that we don't know. I'm just trying to figure this stuff out. And Dutch sees a pattern. I see a pattern. So we're both predicting earthquakes. The April 25th earthquake, that's the epicenter of my May 1st prediction. I mean, that came true, just like last year, the second week of April. That came true. But I have to admit, this 7.8 kind of surprised me. And I don't know that the moon, it's just, out of every position that the moon could be, this one here's the June 26th one coming up. But in whenever I line it up with where I see the black star, whenever I line it up with it, look, then it's coming right around May 29th, May 30th, May 31st. So the seismic activity, the moon swinging around us, it's really making me wonder if that's what's going on. We did just pass between the sun and Saturn, but that was earlier in the week. The moon, I got a feeling, is going to be a culprit here, but the investigation continues. We'll watch. I'm going to go back in time and look at some of these other quakes to see how the moon is coming into alignment with the black star, because it's 2000, where I'm holding my cursor right now. This is where the Chile quake took place, when the Earth was around here. If I can get the Earth to act right here, bring it around, you can see where February 28th is. You see, this is where this is where Chile happened. Fukushima happened over here on May the 11th at the backside, right there. So what I'm doing is I'm tracking the black star coming across this way, just below the ecliptic plane, and how the moon may have played a role. I can see that it's not going to play a role with Fukushima. Wait a minute, March 11th. Let me get back to 2000. That's why I'm messing around here. Let's go back to 2011 and see where the moon was in that position. And see if it's between the Earth. Nope, it's at a 90-degree angle. It's pointing the other direction. Whenever the black star was right here. Disqualify the moon from making that event bigger right there. So anyway, wanted to give you guys a little